Howdy Earthlings, welcome to a review for Kiln. Before I start, let me get this annoying thing out of the way. My copy for this game, as well as my wife's copy, was gifted to me by Xbox. They asked me to say this and to do it in the first 90 seconds despite this not being sponsored. They didn't give me money for this either, so there's no reason to do this disclosure other than they wanted people to know that they gifted it to me. Used to be I could just review a game and disclose it was a review copy, but now more companies are asking me to present it like it's a sponsorship. Thank you so much, Xbox, for blessing me with this game and your attention. Anyway, they also told me on Xbox and PS5 you need a paid online subscription, like you didn't know that already. They also said that if I didn't have a sub, they wouldn't provide me one. So I got a Steam key, so it's fine. They didn't tell me to say this part, but it does require an Xbox account, even on Steam. It's free, but you might find it annoying to have to log into a third-party service through Steam. Now the actual review. Kiln is the latest game by the studio Double Fine, who is known for making some of the coolest and quirkiest games around, like Psychonauts, and my personal fave, the game formerly known as Iron Brigade, which is now Trenched. Anyway, Double Fine is known for an indie-like style of game design despite now being owned by Xbox. Being owned by Xbox, though, is like owning a 360. You're living on borrowed time. Like the 360 was doomed to get a red ring, and Xbox Studios doomed to get shut down. But hey, maybe some of you will get to move to Activision and play support for Call of Duty. Sorry for doom and gloom, but after playing Kiln, it's hard to be optimistic for the studio's future, knowing Xbox's history of shutting down new IPs and long-standing studios if the game just slightly underperforms. Maybe Double Fine's legacy will keep them safe, but Kiln isn't doing the numbers a company like Xbox is expecting. On Steam alone, the game opened to 200 players, and even after just a week, it was lucky to hit 50 players. There are factors at play though, like that this is on Game Pass. I think it was under-advertised, so maybe the majority are just playing it on Game Pass. But if this game doesn't hit its first anniversary, I won't be surprised. Now, Kiln isn't a bad game, it's just that it's another multiplayer game that fails to stand out. It's mid. It's another multiplayer game that should have launched free to play. It has this sort of friend slap-like vibe to it, which is what got my wife's attention. And when the wife wants a key, I get the key. I'm not the breadwinner, I don't bring home the bacon, I come home with keys. We are starving, please help. It isn't priced like a friend slap game, and to be fair, it isn't. Kiln is a Moba, one of the most oversaturated game genres that died because of the crowded space, now being released a decade after the death of it. But this Moba isn't trying to appeal to the adult gamers who would remember the MOBA's rise and fall. This is targeted towards children and seeks to provide MOBA-like gameplay without the complexity and the depth of those games. You know, the things that MOBA players enjoy. In Kiln, you play a spirit with the power to make clay vessels for it to possess and inhabit. It's a fun idea. We get to make our own characters, and archetypes are broken into weight classes, shapes, and then mass. The customization is very robust. For the most part, you get to make and do what you want, until you encounter a heavy player who teaches you early that even in a zero complexity MOBA that there's still somehow a meta. I'll touch on it a bit after I explain the gameplay. Upon getting into a match, your job is to get water and deliver it to your opponent's kiln to put out the kiln's fire. If the kiln isn't lit anymore, it can't make more vessels. Once the kiln has been fully doused, you win. You can get water from neutral spots on the map, from destroying vases, and by defeating opponents who are carrying water. This results in players camping their kiln, focusing on kills, or dying with few people playing the objective. The downside of making a competitive game for children is a lot of kids just don't know what they're doing. Asking them to do anything more than team deathmatch, asking a lot of adults to understand anything more than team deathmatch is rough. I'm already getting flashbacks to Splatoon ranked lobbies. Your performance and how you play the game is dictated by your personally designed vessel. When making your vessel, you have a choice of tiny, medium, and large vessels, and these for the most part work as a class archetype. Tiny are like your rogue classes. They're fast and great for surprising enemies with short-range single-target damage. Their shapes also come with a wide and varied toolset. Medium are larger and with more health, and for the most part are your fighters, being the well-rounded brutes. Last of all is the heavy or larger vessels, which are the highest health, slowest, carry the most water, and often have basic attacks that hit a larger area. As if having the largest health pool wasn't enough, they were given AoEs for basic attacks. You will see a lot of players making heavies, and specifically the tube or cigarette-shaped ones, as they have a spread shot AoE basic attack. They feel very unbalanced, and it's very much a if you can't beat them, join them scenario. You're either playing a heavy or you're not having fun. Once you picked a weight class, you then get to make the shape of it yourself. Before you ask, yes, I did see a lot of phallic-shaped vessels. That's just what happens though. You give people creative tools and they will always make phallic objects. It's human nature, I guess. but there are a lot of shapes like cups, bowls, vases, and each one has an ability tied to it. Then you can adjust the shape slightly to increase or decrease the mass, which will lean it towards being able to carry more water or towards more health. You can't both carry a lot of water and be tanky, you have to choose. So this of course makes kiln camping that much more annoying, as the guard is always a heavy tube with an AoE the size of a house and his health maxed out. These dudes are not carrying any water. The biggest problem I think the game has is the only thing that makes it playable. You can change your vessel in the middle of a round and even make a new one. Isn't that a fun concept? Losing because a teammate keeps stopping to make a new vessel from scratch on every death. After playing for a couple hours, me and my wife decided to drop it. She says, "The combat is slow and clunky and not in the fun and quirky way. The pot shapes feel like they don't matter, aside from the cigarette dudes. Special abilities don't feel cool or useful, and some even feel bad to use. The problem is it tries to be fun and silly, but the moment you make it a versus game, you make it competitive. And in competitive, fun and silly starts to become annoying. So adults are going to want this to be competitive and take this seriously, or you're just going to get annoyed and eventually take it seriously because you're annoyed from, getting demolished. This one really is for the kids, and that's totally fine. But it's 2026. Parents aren't buying their children $20 games. They're giving them a tablet to play Roblox for free. Designing games for children is an incredibly uphill battle. If it's not free, then parents won't get it for them. For adults, this will lack the depth that you might want from a Versus title. If you have Game Pass already, check it out. No harm in it. If you buy it on Steam, if you don't like it after an hour, you won't like it hours later. It doesn't change. The only progression is more cosmetics. I appreciate being given the opportunity to play and the bonus key so my wife could join, but whenever I receive a key from a major company like Xbox, it's always too good to be true. I get excited and then I start playing it and I'm like, oh, this is why they gave me the key. Because sometimes your games are struggling so much and you're hoping that I'm going to be desperate enough for the key to glaze your game, because most small YouTubers are afraid to burn bridges with companies that give them keys. I won't hype your game just because you gave me a key. I'm here to be honest. I wouldn't recommend Kiln for the majority of people. The game is very charming, and it looks awesome, but it's just a very miserable experience. Xbox, if this is the last key you give me, I understand it. I'm fine with that. I think I'm good for a while. Thanks for watching, and thanks to my supporters on Patreon and members on YouTube like Luis Fernando, Ilwez, Alter Ego, Nightmare Wuna, Freya Games, Gezro, Am, Nebazit, Esperant, Artist, Paper, Faye Penguin, Momentary Unicorn, Nat, Marius Yini, Worm Syrup, Brask, Beef, Colorado Blue, Vaderson, Linky, Addy14, The Ace of Raccoons, Blackjack, Rask again, Willie Pete, TG Dante, Linky again, Astropixie YT, and Malding Brick. I'll see you all later. I'm gonna look into seeing if it's possible to get a refund on a free game. Bye! How do you win this junk? Do you just get big mode and then do the wave beam guy and then just be a total scumbag? Do you just have to have defense so good that they can't possibly score? Like, it's like stalling out the clock. It's a terrible way to win.
Other guy left. He's not here anymore. I wish he would just cancel moves. That'd be great. I'll hit him for a big one, and now he's gonna have to go back. And he's just popping his thing like that. Got him. Barely.
Alright, I'm gonna go try to put this in. Nope. God, this game reeks.